They went in 1911. The final, a lot of them. My great grandfather had gone before that, and then his wife, who was Sarah, whatever family was left, she went with them in 1911.
So Sarah would have been your granny?
Great granny.
Great granny. Right. So Granny Anderson's mother was called?
She was Marianne, and she was Marianne Kelly. Her father was William McGrorty.
He knows all that. He's shaking his head.
And that's good.
Nodding it.
That's good, because I thought nobody was loving knew it but myself. Because it seemed to me that none of my siblings were interested in that side of the family, you know. But and I would have been the only one who met them. I went to America to meet them.
Oh, did you?
Move a small man, I guess.
You want to come around here, man?
I'll sit there. Sure, you can sit here.
That's fair enough.
Move my mouse.
Sorry about
No, you're okay. You're okay.
So I have the family tree done out here,
Good.
Marina, and I'll show you it here.
That's brilliant. You know, my grandchildren have been pushing me to do that for years, and I've never got around to it.
So, I don't know if you can.
I can see it.
Can you see all right there? Can you? So
Yourself on there, Marina, if you want.
Yeah.
I know, and I have computer glasses, which I have there. Don't see my reading glasses. I don't see the computer with my reading glasses. They're too strong or something, and that's better.
So I've probably got people here wrong. So here's Dermot's.
Oh, you.
I'll just share my screen so it's captured here. So.
What's this, 1948?
That's wrong. It's 45, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Because they were both born in the same year, 1945. My mum and my dad. And my dad would have been 80 on the 8th of May, and mummy would have been 80 now in the 24th of this month.
So there's obviously Grant Anderson, and then so the siblings. So question. So was it Andrew Eugene Anderson?
That was my brother.
Eugene. It was
Yeah.
Andrew, wasn't it? That's
Yeah.
right. So what I have so far is, so here's that. I've nothing on the Anderson side. So he was Andy Anderson.
Nine.
And then Bridget was Bridie McGrorty.
That's right. Yeah.
So you have Bridget from William to Mary Ann.
That's right.
And then
it's brilliant.
from the Kellys, then you go John,
Aye.
Mary Jane, John, Ellen Boner, Dennis Kelly, Patrick. Dennis Kelly, John Kelly, Patrick Boner, and Anne was Nancy. So that's 1870, so it is. And then this will go back as far as the 1780s.
What?
So this goes back 1784 to 1791. So there's.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing what you've done.
So there's a lot of different things there. So there's.
So what's this woman to like us or opposed to Marina would be easier maybe?
So your sixth generation. So Grace, grandmother.
All right.
Would be Ellen Boner, and then John Kelly. So this would be on Granny's Anderson's maternal side. Yeah, this is all her maternal side. So it is, and you'll see like a lot of repetition of names. So you'll see Mary Jane, Mary Ann, Mary Jane, and yeah. So there's Mary Ann as well, and then her sister, obviously. I think she died from. So there's Mary Jane there. She died from laryngitis.
Laryngitis.
No, it's
Diphtheria.
Diphtheritic. Yeah, diphtheritic laryngitis. Yeah, that's what she died at. She was 7 when she died.
That's Granny's sister.
No, that would be her. Yeah, that'd be her sister. Yeah, yeah, that'd be her sister. Yeah,
So this is, who's this? Mary Jane?
Mary Jane McGroarty, yeah.
died when she was 7.
So she was born in 1914 and then she died in 1922.
Yeah.
And then this here woman here, Ellen Kelly. Don't know if you ever heard tell of her. So she would have been Granny's aunt. As far as
Well, yeah, of course. She lived up there at the schoolie, Monica.
Did she?
And you know those, before you go into the schoolie, there's a row of wee old labourers' cottages on the right.
Would that been where the beehive was?
No, the schoolie's
Oh,
down,
Lascully.
on down. There's petrol pumps at it.
That's right.
And then just below that there's a Presbyterian church. And then just below that there's a row of cottages.
Oh, right, okay.
And Ellen lived there. I would have visited there a lot with my granny.
Oh, there you are.
so that's that woman, and there's another photo of her here. That's her there as well.
And is that her and her sister Josephine?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, she like Granny around the mouth there, isn't she?
Yeah.
So and then picture wise, so there's a lot here from the McGroartys from America who've populated a lot of the a lot of pictures and stuff like that. That's sort of hard to navigate across. So there'd be John McGroarty here, John, Janie, James, Daniel, Mary Bella, Martha, Charlie.
Martha Bella, Mary Bella. Eh?
So these all would have been Americans.
So I would have met Mary Bella, and I would have met Charlie and John.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would, and then here's another picture here of a McGroarty. This is a John McGroarty here.
Yeah, and he would have been one of that generation that all those brothers.
Right.
I think was 6 brothers and 1 sister in it.
And then going, so then on the McGroarty side too, there's so I don't know who this was, but you've got, we'll say during the War of Independence, there was John McGroarty. So he would have had a car. He was the only man to have a car.
In America?
No, in Castlefin. John McGroarty.
What dates was that?
Would have been the 1920s.
That wouldn't have been. My great grandfather would have been in America then. He was John McGroarty. He went away, and I think in 1900, very early anyway. Apparently he went to America twice. He went in the late 1890s and then came home again, and then went again and sometime around 1900. And this is what the people in America traced. They could see where he came in at Ellis Island, and they could, at another time, they saw where he came in at Boston.
Right.
It wasn't until 1911 that my great grandmother, Sarah, emigrated with the rest of the family. And they then ended up in Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah, I think that's sort of where it is there.
There's Sarah.
Yes, that's Sarah there.
And she was Sarah Doherty.
Yeah, Sarah Doherty, yeah.
Yeah. And she was a milliner. She made hats for the gentry.
Right.
Can you click on her name? See if anything comes up?
I have a picture of a wonderful embroidery that she did on the ship going over.
Oh, really?
And it's of her last sight of Derry.
Oh, right.
Very nice.
So she must have been very creative, and
it's gone down the generations.
And
nothing about her then, Brad?
No, this is just all manually maintained from myself.
Right.
There is record matches. You'll see we'll say the people who've maintained these from other parts and where records match. So you'll see here, this match is from a family tree.
10th of May, 2 days, Dad was the 8th of May, 1872.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. And then you have here, there's the Pennsylvania death record for Sarah from 1927.
Yeah.
So I don't know, can we see that? There's her That's
Birth.
that is the birth, last permanent residence, Killygordon.
And they were married in the Cross Chapel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the what?
at the cross, you know.
The Cross Chapel.
Mm.
All right.
So this is from Ellis Island,
Yeah.
this here record. So yeah, you can see it here. Well,
Oh, no.
probably be hard enough to distinguish here, McGorty, but that's the
Records.
record, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
McGorty.
There's
Here.
John there, Sean McGorty. John, Lizzie, there's Sarah at the top.
Yeah. What's it say? 40. What's it say? Housewife. What else does it say there, Brad?
Housewife, country, British.
Yeah, and that's look after they left there, you know.
Yeah.
That's out at it's called Church Munster. That the actual I think he worked for a big farmer there.
Right.
At Carnone. Yeah.
So then this is the race.
Was that Protestant side? Were they?
No.
No.
No Protestants in the McGrorty side.
No.
Just the other crowd.
So is it Protestants in Anderson?
Oh, they come from surely Protestant descent.
Tell me this here now, is this anyway true that Andersons come from Scottish royalty?
Not at
No.
all. Some Brian told you something.
No, I think it was Granny said to me.
That was a yarn that Brian used to put about. Not at all. No, he was they loved. They came from Scotland, all right.
Yeah.
But I think he worked in a big estate there outside of Lufford. Forget what you call it. Anyway.
It was the water wheel.
But they had a small farm. It is my knowledge now, and I know, I mean, other people might, but this is what I would have heard from Uncle Peter, my father's brother. And he was referring to his grandfather, who was called John Anderson. And they had a small farm up there above where we lives.
That's right,
But at that time, you see, they had the Catholics, or everybody had to pay the penny tithe for the church in England. But he married a Catholic, and then he refused to pay the penny tithe, and so that land was confiscated. So then they ended up at Lisnamulligan. That time you could claim land, but only like land that the other crowd didn't want, if you just went and dug a sod. So somewhere or other, anyway, he ended up at Lisnamulligan, and his brother, I think he was called Andrew Anderson, and he got the farm next to Lisnamulligan. That's I would only know that from Uncle Peter, you know, right. My father's brother.
So just on the list of Mulligan Anderson, so I was doing a search there for IRA activity during the War of Independence, and there was for the local Donegal brigade, so you would have had Castlefin, Castledare, all the sort of Ballyfay area would have been in the one brigade, South Donegal Brigade. So this here was an attack on the Castledare RIC barracks.
But let me stop you there, Brad. I know you're saying RIC, so they changed their name then to RUC.
Well, that's after the country was partitioned. Yeah.
Right.
That was the Royal Irish Constabulary, they were called then.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole country was at one stage governed by Britain, you know.
Right, okay.
So on this record, there's a John Anderson from Lisnamulligan.
Yeah.
Do you know that man?
That would be my father's brother, I imagine.
Right.
What year was that?
That would have been on the 26th of March, 1921.
That's right. Well, the story goes that the house in Lisnamulligan was raided, you know, and I think he got away, but I'm not sure. But that my grandmother had 2 guns under her pillow and refused to get out of bed. Pretend she was sleeping. Had one of the younger children on the bed with her.
Oh God.
That's in there. So he whether he was trying to get away or whatever, but he pushed the guns on under my grandmother's pillow, and they didn't. And anyway, he wasn't very heavily involved in IRA.
Was he?
And he went to America then shortly after that.
Have you been pro or anti-treaty IRA then?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure, Brad.
And would that politics, anti-treaty and pro-treaty, have been within the family, would it?
I'd say it would be, because you know what, in those days, it was more educated and very smart people who would have been involved in the IRA, and they were all known to be highly intelligent people. I would have been taught by one of the teachers that taught my father, and when we didn't know anything, he would have said, "And where are the brains of the Andersons that I taught in the last generation?" You know, so there's that part of it. I know that probably sounds maybe egotistical, but there is that part of it where that family were known for being, very smart and self-educated. And Aunt Molly, you'll remember Aunt Molly, she stayed with Phil and PJ in the end up.
No, I never knew,
sister.
but I've heard of it, or
Well,
not.
Aunt Molly, look,
On Brian
she
Day?
had she was reading the classics when she was, this is a woman living in the middle of the country who would have left school at probably 13 or whatever, and I remember one time I would have given her books, she taught all of us she read stories to us every time we were there. She would have encouraged us to read. And I remember offering her, I'd read Patrick Kavanagh,
Oh, yeah.
and I've offered her a couple of books, or I might have brought them up to her when she was on PJ, and she said, "Oh, sure, I have them all read."
Yeah.
That's who she was, and that's the kind of family that they came from.
Right.
Smart.
So if we look at the Anderson side of things, so because like the McGraw, well, maybe one more area of the McGraortys that we might look on. Did you ever hear tell of a John or a Patrick Kelly? They were killed in the World Wars.
That's right, and Patrick was very young.
He was 20. Have you seen a picture of him?
Yes.
I found a picture online.
Mm.
Maybe you can tell me if it's
That was
correct.
Granny's aunt Agnes was his mother.
The cousins or grannies. Right.
So-
What war is this? The World War?
And this is World War One. So this is Patrick Kelly here.
Yeah.
So I found this online. Apparently this man here.
Picture, Brad, yeah. I think Adam has it, and my grandson Adam has a trunk of stuff that he collected around, because he was in the army himself,
Right.
in the British Army. So he still collects anything to do with army. So he has that picture.
Yeah. And there's also I don't know if I have the picture here now. Patrick Kelly.
I think he was the youngest of that family, Brad.
He was, yeah. And his grave is here as well.
In Flanders, isn't it?
It is, yeah. This is his grave here.
Aye.
Patrick Kelly, Machine Gun Corps.
Well, I haven't that. I would like to have that.
I'll
for Adam.
send that on to you, no bother. But he was killed, as far as I know, he was killed taking a village against he was killed taking a village in France. So this is in Lens in France. And then his uncle, John, he was gassed. He was killed in the Somme. I
didn't know that.
And his body was never recovered. So there's his name's only on a plaque.
Look, I just wish that Adam was here to see that, because it's just great to see it. He'd be the one in the family to all this history as well.
Yeah.
So John would have been. He was killed at the Somme. He was killed during the Battle of the Somme, and he was
38.
He was in the Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers. So he was. So he would have been. So they were based in Omagh. So they would have done all their recruiting around Donegal and Tyrone, and they would have been based in Omagh. He was 38 and he was married. And
to Bridget
McGoldrick, and she remarried, but I don't think they had any kids.
I say I don't know. I just know about Patrick because my mother's aunt, Agnes, she was married to Brown. That was her youngest son. No, that would have been.
Yeah, so he's buried in Thiepval in the Somme, yeah. So he was killed there.
Yeah.
And likely was killed in Shelling, where his body was buried. So he was probably killed, and his body was either buried by, soil,
Yeah, where he fell.
wasn't recovered, or, was gassed. So his body, he's just a name on a wall now. So he is. So that's sort of the Kelly side of things. So that's sort of the research I've done so far, and then I've very little on the Anderson side. So all I have is what have we got from the Anderson side? So I have Patrick and Andrew. So Andrew Andy, and his father was Patrick.
Yeah.
So if I look here at the census records in Ireland for Patrick Anderson, so in 1911, let's look at that there. So there's 3 Patricks. There's 2 in Listamulligan and there's 1 in Castlefin.
Yeah.
So the one in Listamulligan was married to a Bridget.
Yeah. Quinn. Mary Bridget Quinn.
Right. And they had John, Joseph, Winifred, Rose, Patrick, Peter, and Charles. So that'll be our side.
Yeah, and then that's John was the eldest.
John Joseph, yeah, he was the eldest.
And then Peter.
And then it was Winifred was next.
Oh, right.
He was 7. Rose was 4. Patrick would have been 2. Peter was 9 months. And then they had a servant at the time, Charles Kelly.
Right. And then they had a son called James who died as a child. And then Barney, who died when he was 19.
Right.
He'd have been my father's youngest brother.
What did he die of?
He died of meningitis.
Right.
So who's this here? Is this Grand Anderson's family?
It is. This is his father, Patrick.
So Patrick. Right. So that's his grandfather then, this Patrick?
Yes.
Okay.
So this would be, Andrew, no, that's wrong. So this is Andrew Anderson's father. So Andrew wouldn't have been born at the time.
So Andrew, granddad Anderson.
Yes. No. Dermot. Andy Anderson was born in 1915.
Yeah.
So he wasn't born at the time. So this is his father here,
Yeah.
Patrick, and this is his mother and his brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So
where's he in that?
He's not born. This is
Oh, he's not
1911.
born. All right. Okay. Sorry.
So they were farmers. Where did they have the farm? Do you know?
That would have been Listamulligan.
Right. Is that farm still within the family, or is it sold, or?
It belongs to Paul.
PJ's son.
PJ's son. Yeah.
Right.
He was left that. Or Alan was left there at Nagana farm.
And then Irish and English, and we'll go Gagat.
Get the Gaelic Gagat.
What's the so? Oscailga, is it Anderson? Is Macgilla Andres?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Thank God.
What does that mean?
That's what, because I was just trying to find the translation.
Irish for Anderson.
All right.
So,
And Marcus Macgilla means
servant.
Son of servant.
Yeah.
Marcus son, Macgilla. Yeah.
Yeah, of Andrew, son of the servant of Andrew. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get my passport in Irish at the minute. So I'm getting my Irish passport will have Brad Macgilla Andres. So I spent ages trying to find, was it Mac Andrew, Macgilla Andres? So I'm happy it was right when I was doing my research. So this is still within the family, Patrick and Bridget. So they would have been reading and writing at the time. So if we look back, we'll say, if we go back one, and we go back to 1901. So they were 35 and 31. So Donegal. Would they have been married at the time? So Anderson, Patrick. So this is, I assume, here. So it's So is this one here, Patrick,
Mhm.
24. So was he married at the time? He was, and he had a brother, Bernard.
Yeah, they had adjoining farms, Mulligan, and then I forget what the farm next to Mulligan. So I'm not sure how they acquired that.
Right.
But they had. I mean, when I was a child, I spent a lot of time there, and I would have been up at Barney Anderson's farm as well.
And that's what he would have been called, Barney.
Aye. And he had two sons who were Patrick and Jibby. They have another one. They had Patrick anyway, and then James.
Right.
Mm.
So then we'll say, so that's Patrick then. So if we look then for Bridget,
Mm.
or no, Bridget's there. Do you know anything about Bridget Anderson?
Yeah, so that's my grandmother, Bridget Anderson. Yeah, she was from Dewey, up near Fountain, up that direction. And
Right.
her name was Quinn.
Okay, so do you know what what were her parents' names?
I don't know. I don't know, Brad.
So if we put Quinn in, so this is in Donegal.
Mm. Mm.
Do you know if she had any brothers or sisters?
That's just maybe. Aye. Let's see, she had two sisters who went to America. I don't know their names.
Okay.
And she had a brother called Peter.
And Peter.
Mm.
See if we can find Peter Quinn. So there's 12 Peter Quinns. There is let me just zoom up there so you can see it better. So there's Mount Charles. There's the cross. And would that be them there? Peter Quinn?
No, they would have lived in
Fountain?
Fountain direction.
So that would be Peter there.
Probably, yeah.
And that was likely then his father, I'd imagine. So yeah, so there's Peter Quinn is Peter Quinn's father, and that's Mary Quinn. So that's probably Bridget's brother and sister.
Yeah.
So what were they then? So they were farmers as well, and they also had Irish and English.
Mm.
Right.
My grandmother's sisters emigrated.
Okay.
They went to America. My grandmother went to job. My grandmother came to work in Mulligan as a servant. And she then left there and went to America. And when she was in America, she discovered that she was pregnant. And that was my grandfather's child. It's Patrick Anderson, that's his child. She wrote to him and he told her that she could come. Now, this has been clearly told, this story, by my aunt, my father's sister, Mary Ann, who, she knew all the details. She wrote to him and he said she could come back to Mulligan, but not to bring a bastard child with her. So my grandmother came to Nazareth Home in Derry, and that's where their eldest child was born, and she was called Annie. And she was in the Nazareth house. She was brought up there. I think he supported that financially, as far as I know. But she was never allowed to come to Mulligan, and she never did. And Granny's sister took her to America when she was 15 or 16, and that's where she stayed. Now, she had asked a few times over the years. She always wanted to see Mulligan, and they would never agree. And when my grandparents had both died, my grandmother died last. When they had both died, she came to Ireland and she stayed with my mother, and she was able to see Mulligan.
Very good.
And that would have been Granny's aunt.
That would have been
or Granda's aunt.
Yeah, Granda's. That would have been Granda's eldest sister.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Granda Anderson's Andrew's sister.
That's his eldest sister. Now, he didn't know anything about her. The younger people didn't know anything about her, and he only found out about her when him and my mother went to went to Philadelphia on a holiday. And that would have been, I always remember it because it was a time my Brian was born. And Brian was born in 57 or 58. So I was in hospital having him when she was there. I didn't get to meet her. That, you know, that's a different thing. But now that was her story, and she was never acknowledged by him, and she wasn't spoken about. But I often would have, my grandmother used to get letters, and because I was a lot in Mulligan as a child, I would have spent most of my summers there. You know, I was probably sent down out of the way, and there's very many of us. But I would have known Granny to get a letter, and she'd have been down in what was their sitting room then, and she'd have been crying.
Oh, shame, isn't it?
Aye.
So that would have been her daughter.
That had been her eldest daughter, called Annie.
Like great granny Anderson.
That's right. That's
Great
right.
granny Anderson. Yeah.
So,
Stories are unbelievable. Like, you know.
so I'll just add her now. She'll be the first one to be added. So she was
Annie.
Annie Anderson.
And when Granny was...
Well, she wouldn't have been Anderson, would she?
Well, she was.
She was given the name.
Oh, was she given the name? All right.
As far as I know.
Right, okay.
When was she born now?
Well, if she was their eldest, now that she would have been before John was what everybody knew to be the eldest.
Right.
But Annie would have been the eldest.
So if we were to put a rough date then, so what if we look here, we're looking here with this John. Where's that census records? That's the Quins. I'll just duplicate that. So it would have been before 1901 anyways.
Yeah.
Been in the 1800s, would it? God.
So that's the wrong family there. It's this one here, List Mulligan, is it?
Mm.
So probably just after 1901. So he was 24, she was 19. So if we just go to, well, wait, is that 1911? We'll just go to 1911 then, just try and get maybe a closer date. So they wouldn't have been married at the time then, if
They weren't married, no.
so it would have been before this.
Yeah.
So it would have
They
been
weren't
before
married
1901.
until Granny came back from America and
So
back from the Nazareth house and all the rest of it.
So she would have been a very young woman then.
Yeah.
So she was only 19 when they were married.
So she must have been maybe 17 or 18, Brad.
Okay, so you're checking about maybe.
That'd have been very frowned upon then, back then.
It was just awful, Monica.
So we'll just say circa 1898. A Nazareth House, Derry. Nazareth.
UK.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm fine.
That's very interesting stuff, isn't it? It takes a lot of patience and interest to do it, you know. You really need to have a vested interest, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
And what date did that woman die?
Aunt Annie, I don't know. She would have died in Philadelphia, and saying it was 56 or 57 that she visited. It would have been sometime after that. It was a good while after that till I heard that she had died.
In the 70s, would it?
No, probably early 60s.
I just put in 1960. But she actually might come up if we were to have a quick.
Great-grandfather's. Ah, there you are. There your great-grandfather's sister. Did you put that on?
No, it just automatically populates it.
And so that would be your great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Because
Historical.
it's amazing how they can
It's absolutely, it was wonderful. But
She would have died in Philadelphia.
Mhm. She never married. I think she worked for a very rich family all her life. And they actually had left her quite a legacy, apparently.
God.
So all the Andersons in America, all the younger generation, they all kept on with her. My mother, you know, she was amused to tell the stories that they fought about who would. She used to go on world cruises and all the rest of it when she was retired. You know, they'd have been fighting about who would meet her at.
Oh God.
And she'd come.
And like at the end of the day, her father like disowned her, but at the same time, you know, she'd done well for herself, which was good to see. Very proud of strong women, and the Andersons in there.
There are strong women.
From Philadelphia. Probably won't find her looking now, but no date of death. So her death would have been 60. Take that off. No, there's no. There's a few deaths here from the 1960s for Nanny Anderson, but
there's an Annie S. Anderson or Annie Mae.
they would have been sort of Pittsburgh.
Maybe,
You know, I wonder would it narrow it down, Brad, if you knew who she was employed by?
No, you wouldn't get that information.
Don't know that bad. And you know, I never kept up with the Anderson side. My father's sister, Aunt Mary, she would have come back from America and settled here for a while when her family grew up, and I would have been really friendly with her and visited her and everything, but I never kept in contact with any of her family.
No.
Then she went back to America again.
Right.
So, look here, Jesus. This is so this would have been Peter then. So if we look at Bridget Quinn's, so her father was Peter, isn't that what we've seen here? Peter Quinn Fintown.
We seen that. You seen that as her brother,
Yeah, and her father as well.
Oh,
So her
right,
father would have
okay.
been.
right?
So if we add him as Peter Quinn, he was born in 1901. 1901 minus 54 is what? 1901 minus 54.
47.
1847. You would have been born roughly 1847. And is there any stories in the family about the famine?
I've never heard any about it. I've heard stories about my great grandfather John Anderson and Listener Mulligan, and stories about farming and that, but I haven't heard anything about the famine. They always seemed to have a bit of money, I suppose obviously they were farming, but they were tenant farmers, and the landlord that owned all that land right down that eastern side of the River Fun, right from above the cross down. He was called Young. He was a landlord who had been granted all that land. So I would have heard a story about my great grandfather John Anderson. The landlord would do a yearly tour of all these farms.
Mm-hmm.
And they were harvesting corn. I actually know that's a field that they talked about. And when the landlord and all the entourage came up through the glen, on horseback and whatever, and they stopped there and they said, John Anderson, you have the best a best crop of corn in the Fun Valley, so your rent will have to go up by such and such year. You know, that's the way they would have been treated. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was a story from Uncle Peter now, my father's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that I know, that's I would have heard mostly from him and from Aunt Mary, who had to come back here to live for a while. But Peter came every year, so I would have spent some time with him. But my father never talked about it, or he didn't seem to. He was one of the younger members, you see, so he wouldn't have known the same or had the same experience as those. Because they re-granted the land then. Would have been, you know, I suppose well after my father was born.
Mm-hmm.
Which meant, wasn't that Grattan's law where they re-granted the land?
Yeah, that was after the land league, wasn't it?
Mm.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, no, I know what you're on about.
That was when my father, or my great grandfather, Patrick Andrews, that's when he was able to be the sole owner of the land.
Yeah.
Up until then would have been belonged to the landlord.
Yeah. And was there any sort of, you know, sort of, we'll say, going on sort of old family stories back to the IRA? Was there any stories, we'll say, about like the IRA, War of Independence, Black and Tans?
There was just that story about Johnny, how he had been, the house been raided for him. But sure, my father was in the IRA, and he would have. There's plenty of stories about him, and I remember the morning that he was arrested and jailed. The house was surrounded all night. It was quite traumatizing for us as children. I would have been about 5 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they came in, and I always remember my mother was, she had her rosary beads around her neck, and one of them came up and just snapped them off, you know.
This is the Gardaí.
No, that wouldn't have been the Garda. That would have been, I'm not sure. That would have been, say if I was 5, that would have been 1941.
That would have been the Gardaí, yeah.
That's when they would have, well, I just remember that was all detectives and things like that. But that was, I mean, I have a clear memory of that, very clear memory. Okay, that's just my wee, oh no, it's somebody's. I have a wee photograph thing there of my great granddaughter, and it's always dangling behind you.
Right.
Wee electronic thing.
So that would have been sort of the border campaign then, sort of time.
Aye. And I remembered, one time, my father used to cure bacon for all the farmers around, you know, and he was, he had these, and there's a big barn in those days, and he had these, what we call the bacon boxes, you know, they were big, huge wooden boxes where you know, where the bacon was steeped in salt and saltpeter to cure it. And they had a folding lid at the top. They're huge, you know, they've been that height, like.
Yeah.
And I remember being out there in the barn when he was working at the bacon, and he looked down and they saw two, what he referred to as detectives coming up the yard, and he just nicely closed over the box, set me on top of it, and they came in, and there was guns in it, of course, and they looked around everywhere else, and he said, "You sit there and don't move and don't speak," and that's what happened. And they went out again. They never looked in that box.
Imagine you wonder that they didn't open the box.
So Andrew, what year was Andrew born? 1915, was it? So he wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have been involved really in the War of Independence or any of that stuff. He would have been too young.
Yeah.
So he would have joined the IRA afterwards, right?
He would have. He was in the British Army.
He was in the British Army. Andrew was.
That's where my name comes from. He was in the Guard of Honour at the wedding of Princess Marina and the Duke of Kent.
Right.
So that's why I was named Marina.
And who did he serve with?
He was in the Royal Enniskillens.
Right. So he went from the Royal Enniskillens, left them, was at the Duke's wedding, and he joined the IRA.
Yeah.
Why? Did he ever talk about that, or?
that was the way of it. Then, you know, they joined the army because they had no work.
Yeah.
You know, Brad, and it was their main reason. And the First World War as well, they joined the army because there was no. When my father came home and leave, apparently this is the story, and he was being posted to India, and that was the time that the Battenberg and all that thing, and he was being posted to India, and my grandmother persuaded him not to go back. So because he was lived in Ireland, they couldn't arrest him.
Right.
The British couldn't arrest him. So that's how he got out of the army, and he joined the IRA very shortly after that.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Because I would have remembered people coming to our house for IRA meetings when I was my earliest memories, really. Lying on my bed, listening to them talking all night, maybe.
What would they have been talking about? Just
I wouldn't have known, but I would
Yeah.
have heard the murmur of voices, you know, and
Yeah.
you'd have known that those people. And I remember when there was this fella came, he was called, I always remembered, he was called, I think it was Chris Clarkin, his surname was Clark, and he was from down the middle of the country, and he was on the run. And I remember him being in our house, and I remember he asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And I said a doll with a blue dress.
Oh.
And he was arrested shortly after that. But I got the doll with the blue dress because he had written to his mother and asked her to send it to me.
Oh.
Where was he? Would have been from the south then?
He was from somewhere down the country. I think maybe Roscommon or down that direction.
Right.
We were for a while.
So, and then what would the attitude have been, we'll say, in the family then with partition?
Well, I suppose he didn't have a choice. You know, you had to accept what it was. But my father always said that De Valera let them down. He would have always said, because remember when De Valera got into power, he was not very long on the role of Taoiseach until he ordered them to be interned, and there was something like, I don't know how many, well over 1,000 young men interned in 1 week.
Right.
After De Valera took over.
Yeah, it was all over the oath. Wasn't actually all that civil war was over sort of the oath to the king.
Yeah, and I don't think I never heard my father being prejudiced against the oath, but what he always seemed to be angry was about that De Valera betrayed them. You know.
Instead of a Collins man then?
No, he was anti-De Valera.
So, right.
But only because of that betrayal.
Right.
He probably would have been
anti-treaty.
Yeah, before. Yeah. But there was none of us ever interested in IRA, and he would have steered you away from it. But then our cousins.
Oh, would he? We wouldn't
not at all. He was totally against anything like that then, and they end up because I suppose the different
era,
and also what he's seen in it. You know how unfair, and you know, people giving up their young lives, and for what, you know, because you know, but he always would have voted Fine Gael.
So if he voted Fine Gael, then he probably would have been pro-treaty. So he would have been. So he would have been a Michael Collins man.
And he canvassed for Fine Gael and all that every election.
So, and then you were saying your cousins.
That would be my father's brother, Patrick. His sons, Peter and Brian, and them. You might come across them. They turned out to be boxers, and Brian boxed in the Olympics. No, that had been Patrick Anderson's sons. You know, my uncle. Now they would have been in our house every Sunday. You know, when we were all young and all that. They all joined the IRA, and Peter was and Peter's family are still very. The whole lot of them are all pro IRA, and you remember that you know, when Gallagher and Rose Dugdale stole the art and all,
Right.
you know, that story. Well, they dropped a bomb over Strabane at that time. So I would have been living in Strabane.
Well, what would have been that story now? Just
I've come across that.
Eddie Gallagher and Rose Dugdale. She was an heiress. You know, there's a documentary about them.
Aye,
Yes.
that's what I seen.
Aye. Well, they dropped a bomb over Strabane at one stage when they were out doing their business, and that bomb was in my father's creamery can because they were staying in Drumbo with my cousin Peter Anderson. He was housing them. That was a safe house, and they planned there to drop this bomb over Strabane police barracks, and they had 3 creamery cans and all with explosives, or maybe 2, but there was more than one. And in the middle of the night, they came down and stole my father's creamery can. And that was one of the bombs that, fortunately, they fell in the river. They didn't get to the target, but if they had, I mean, the whole town would have been blown up. But that next day, Peter Anderson rang my father and he says, Andy, did you know your creamery can was missing? So I can tell you, and I remember Granny being so angry. And then the thing was, because my children were in Bridgesworth at the grammar school up, and bomb would have been convenient to that. So of course Granny was angry about all that. So she had no time for Peter for a good while after that.
and then how did
God.
Andrew die then? How did he pass away?
My father.
Yes.
Well, he drank himself to death.
Right.
Mm.
Was he a young man when he died?
I think he was 71 or
Right.
around that age. But how he lasted so long, because he drank, even he was a chronic alcoholic.
And do you think this was sort of caused by his upbringing and the violence and?
Well, who knows? I mean, when he was very young, they were making poaching, you know. I remember them going to Castledare when the rationing was still on, to smuggle sugar for the poaching. So that, you know, him and another man called Sam Bell, they made poaching, and my father then always drank poaching, and but it would have been poaching plus whiskey plus this and plus that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And when he died then, was it a quiet funeral? Was there many of his IRA friends there?
When he died, the house was absolutely packed for 2 days of the wake. The people were queued up the road to get in. And when he died, there was 2 pages of each of the Donegal papers full of his story. And the heading was Beloved Donegal Farmer. And out the chapel was packed. The people were down, you know, that chapel, the walkway up to it, and out along the road. There was cars along the road as the funeral went up. Everybody was out, and the whole county, because the whole county knew him, not because of the IRA, but because of his procuring bacon for all the farms.
Well, do you know something? Do you see the day that Granda Anderson died? The 14th of January, and I can't remember the year.
Yeah.
Was the exact day that I took my driving test for the first time.
Is that right?
It's the same day. But I can't remember the year. Do you remember the year, Marina?
I don't know. I don't remember the year.
Anderson Brand.
Must have
92.
92, was it? Aye.
Oh, it's the 22.
Aye.
So it was the exact day when I got the word. But do you know he come one day to my house? Did you know that?
No.
In Spring Hill.
Mm.
I was living in Spring Hill at the time. And Decky said to me, he said, there's a man across the road. He says, I think that's your granda.
Mm.
I went out and looked, and he was up the street and coming down the street looking for my house. And I don't know to this day why. And Granny Anderson said Do you know something? He would have never have done that.
No. No, I wouldn't, no.
It was weird that.
He must have had something in his mind. The time that when your parents would have separated, they were separating. They went to my mother and father went to England to try to stop that happening. You know. So it probably carried, some kind of guilt about the fact that maybe that you weren't supported or something like that. Because I know that would have been talked and talked and talked about a lot, in the family. By all of us,
Well, this is sort of the lack of relationship between Monica, Dad, and Dermot, or is this the divorce?
It was more about just the breakup of the relationship. They didn't want that to happen. Obviously, nobody wanted it to happen.
And why did they break up?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It's probably because they were like they didn't know
They're
what.
too young. They're far too young, surely.
And like my dad, you see that what I can get my head around at this. My dad and my mum met when my dad was home for a bit, and then he went back to England. And did he keep coming back and forward?
And she went over to him at one stage. I mean, he was always in my house, you see, when he would have been home. Or he would have come down and she would have come down there in the bus and that.
How long did the courtship last?
Not very long, Monica.
And then they get married.
Not very long at all. Because I remember at the time, my mother saying, I think your grandmother, Corrie, pushed it or something.
Annie.
Right.
I
think that was like that. I remembered that, and then I remembered Granny saying, "Look, they're so young, and whatever." But I wouldn't have known any details apart from that. I wouldn't have been in Ardnagana a lot then, Monica, because my children were small and I didn't have a car or anything, so I wouldn't have been there a lot. But Dermot would have come down always when he was at home, and that's, your mother would have come down from Castledare.
Why do you think she would have pushed it?
I don't know, but I suppose, I don't know. I think maybe your mother was pregnant then or something.
No, I know that Mum and Dad got married in January 66, and then Barry was born in December 66, so she wouldn't have been pregnant.
Right, okay.
At that time.
Yeah.
But I don't know why.
Would it maybe have been a case of, out there and have somebody else supporting Mommy and
I don't know at all, Barry, honestly. It was something that just I never understood or knew. Because I wasn't that much involved. I wouldn't have been in Ardnagana a lot. Because my children were small. I had huge problems myself because my husband was drinking heavily, and all these. They married in 62, was it? Or
66.
66. Well, if you think about it, say, Deirdre was born in 64, so she'd only been 2. And I had a heart condition also at that time, and so I really wasn't out much. No. And then families didn't visit so much because nobody had a car and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know a great deal about any of that stuff, No.
No.
And did you go to their wedding?
I was at their wedding.
So what was their wedding like?
The wedding was lovely. It was a crowd of people at it. All the families were at it, and she was a beautiful girl. Looked lovely, and I remember what I was wearing. Even I remember what my mother wore.
What were you wearing?
Well,
I do have the album in the house. I do.
I
actually, on that note, I'm trying to get it for Brad, but it's somewhere in my house. But I have this here as well. This is the wedding ring and engagement ring.
Oh, for goodness sake, I've
From
looked
my
at
mother.
that. My goodness.
And my mother had really big fingers, like.
Is that right?
You'd stick them out, Marina, if you want.
My goodness.
My granny Aunt Corrie gave them to me.
Oh, Lord. Well, that's a nice keepsake, Monica. That's lovely.
Did you see them? No.
You know, Andy remembers your mother well. She remembers your mother in our house. So he would have been, Andy was born in 57, so he would have been about 9, wouldn't he, that time? So I would remember. And he often talks about what Marie looked like, you know.
Aye, everybody would say, you know, my mother looked great, a lot of beautiful
She's lovely
girl and
girl.
stuff.
She was lovely looking girl.
Aye, a lot of people would say that. But after the, you know, when they weren't that together that long when they did break up, but like you said, I would have been a baby, you know. My father, it was him giving me the wedding album.
Was it?
He had kept it like for
I see.
all that time, which was good.
What did you need a plug by?
No, I'm just looking for my phone.
Here's it here.
No, it's not my phone.
I'm sorry.
That's better though.
My phone might be in the car. She wouldn't get it, please.
Okay, would you like a cup of tea at this stage?
I'll stick it on the kettle if you want me
Sure,
to.
Monica. Once I would get chatting, I would.
Oh, no.
Have you any old photos by any chance, Marina?
I've just a photo of my parents.
Any at all, yeah.
I got that recently from a cousin from one of we call them the Drumbo Andersons. I'll can send it to you.
And then, so I don't know if you've ever seen this as well.
I have a picture of my great grandmother, McGrorty, you know.
Do you actually?
And then my grandparents, William and Marianne. So I have those pictures.
And then just look for it here. That's not it now.
I'll just ring Declan back and see what he wanted. All right.
Yeah. So this one isn't the right one here. This would be our family crest then. This is it.
The oak for Andersons.
This one here, yeah.
Aye.
I have a tattoo of that, you know.
Have you?
I do, yeah. I have a big tree here on my
Well, the word that goes along with it is Dur, which is a Scottish for oak.
right.
Duir. Yeah.
It's like that. I have a
Look at that.
some sort of a Celtic design, you know. But there's the Anderson crest there and the Celtic note. Nice.
So we coat arms, have we?
You do, yeah. That's that one there.
Which one? Oh, that one?
This one, yeah.
I used it, I know, I don't have any business cards now because they're all out of date and through now, but I used the oak.
Did ya?
Dur therapy, yeah.
Right.
But, yeah.
A picture.
Oh, look at that. Anderson coat arms.
That's the same one.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's very nice, doesn't it? It's lovely.
Yeah.
14 then.
I'll have a coffee, please, Marina. Still is. Do you want to hand me anything?
I sure will, but I'll never refuse it.
What would you want me to do?
Nowadays. Well, there's books are up there and some bugs and I think.
Do you use facial cup? Marina?
No.
No. What do you boys have them?
I'm all right for now. I'll just have a olive water or something.
Yeah, see that's
No nice homemade things that I would have had in the past.
Oh, you're grand.
I
Look, you don't have to open them at all, Marina. Then I have them pastries there if you want. There's no one's there.
Right. So the boys want water. Where's your glasses? Marina? Yeah.
What? I know that.
I mean, you have a tea or coffee? I have tea, like. Oh, I just want tea. Does it bring out of coffee? Your boys don't have a tea? No, that's not. Very healthy, I think. That's it.
Wait till the tea's made.
It's not on here, Monica.
Okay.
Thanks, Monica.
Bye.
Should we look there?
Now give me them. Put it back. Ages ago. What was kitchen here, class?
Come across that sign one of the days.
What's that?
Say, come across that sign one of the days.
What sign? Is it? I didn't guess. Yes. See?
I'll pop to the bathroom myself after.
So they're both 18-karat gold, you know?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just a few quid.
There's a. And more big fingers like that.
Older you get too, the fingers get a wee bit narrower.
You know, narrow with my finger, look. Even the wedding ring. Thank you.
Is it share the light and some of the aspects point?
No, it's just. The information is good information, you know.
Reiterate some of the avenues if you would,
Oh yeah. I'll look at my notes.
Very interesting, that.
suppose the Philadelphia end of things will possibly
Yeah.
open a few things.
Light's just down there.
And there's one down there as well, but go on to that one there. So that's what you do, far away.
Yeah.
I just on down the very bottom, the second door and down the bottom.
Thank you.
Wait, did you take milk in your tea?
I know, aye. Come, they don't take tea.
I don't know. I just use like coffee, you know.
Aye.
Don't take sweeteners on tea.
No, I don't want if I try to have a with sugar.
No,
I never get anything because, you know,
that's not really common. Where you coffee?
up there.
Okay. Very interesting, isn't it? And it's very, it's good for me to find somebody that's interested because I haven't found that in my own siblings, you know, or anything. Yeah.
The only other person that I found who had the interest is Paul Anderson, you know, from Drumroe.
Right.
And he would have done, but he only seemed to research the Andersons, you know.
Right.
Didn't seem to.
But Jonathan Kelly researched the Goldies.
He does a lot of that stuff. But then, you know, Monica, anything that Jonathan would give you there, an extra compliment of it, anything, you know, or something. For some that I would got the picture of Patrick Kelly who died in Flanders, you know,
Right.
But it's good, you know, but it's too much, Monica. It's just, you know, that's but,
Yeah.
mm.
So you don't do much cooking at all, do you? Not?
I know, right, unless a Bridge was here, I would cook, you know, make meals for us, but I'd make my own dinner, you know. But no, I don't. I'm not able, Monica.
No.
No.
Have we got coasters, Marina, or just put them on the table mats?
I have wee coasters there.
Have mine on the table mat anyway.
It's all right. Doesn't matter. There's one.
Do you want that over there for yourself?
Okay.
Do you want me to put in that wee unit there for yourself?
Okay, I suppose.
I just was given a wee prayer of Sister Claire yesterday. Yeah. And I hear she's very, very good. Yeah. Interceding for you.
Bridge got. She had got that picture that's there. I hope they ate it up. It was. I've been not giving it away, Mother. We're putting it in the freezer for Andy.
For they God alone. That's not you having something of it?
I will have something now. But
Right. As these almonds, you boys?
do you like them?
I do like almonds, and there's Declan now.
Thank you, Marina.
You'd be ready to get a cup of tea, wouldn't you?
There's no harm now and again, isn't it?
Where are we now for chairs?
Oh, you sit yourself down.
Hello,
Down
Declan.
there.
Oh,
Are you ringing me?
plenty of chairs here.
You're my rich for this stuff yourselves.
Oh, I'm fine, so here, sit yourself down there and grab a mug.
Okay, all right.
When you got there.
Right.
If you want any more, Marina, just
I should have let you do this out there and I'd have left more room. Oh, I'll get myself,
Okay,
but
no.
I'll not be having any more.
Wow.
So it's been a few years since I've been here.
I was going to say, how are you
Okay.
doing?
Not too bad now. Too bad.
No bother, son. Okay,
Okay.
I'll be right.
Working down in Roscommon again, so I am. And I'm living in Enniskillen as well.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, moved to Enniskillen there about 4 or 5 months ago. I was in Castledare for about 7 or 8 months, and then I was working for a crowd in Roscommon, and I left them about a year and a half ago, and started work with the crowd up on Coal Island,
Okay.
and stayed with them for about a year, and then I just handed in my notice one day because myself and the boss were just seeing eye to eye. Or he was a bit of a hard taskmaster, so he was. So this other crowd from Roscommon, I think it was out of work for about 2 or 3 weeks, and they contacted me again,
Very good.
and they offered me a project manager role. Now they're looking to
Help yourself there.
raise me to
You better eat because I've been ringing since you have to eat.
I have an upset stomach already over and back to Jack's.
like a manager to oversee the whole job process. Because one of the architects is retiring, cutting down his hours and eventually retiring by then. So they want me to sort of consider stepping up into that role.
Very good. And you're lucky enough to get, weren't you? I suppose you would never got there or been there if you hadn't left the other place.
Oh, this is it, yeah.
Mm.
This is it, definitely. But no, the guy in Coal Island, he just had it in his head, because at that time I was doing a health and safety course,
Mm-hmm.
and I had asked him to write approve the time off
Mm-hmm.
to do this course,
Mhm.
or to finish
Mm-hmm.
off the lectures as such.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't sort of forthcoming, and it would be basically coming out of my holiday entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I would have the course finished, I would have had no holidays
Mm-hmm.
for that upcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just says, I have it on my nose.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, on the day, on that particular day, he just says, I knew this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for cut my contract there and then. I says, no, I'll work up my month's
Notice.
notice and such.
Mm-hmm.
So for that particular month, he barely had a dozen words to say to me for the whole thing.
Say.
Yeah.
Say. Do you know, you get that a lot in the workplaces nowadays. There's a lot of stuff, micromanagement, bullying. So it's got to a terrible place, I think, myself. Mm-hmm. And there doesn't seem to be as much protection for employees as there would have been. You know, I hear it a lot in my own work. You know, people impacted on by this behaviour in workplaces. Like a lot of toxic stuff, you know.
Yeah, well, it sort of was. He was sort of an old school guy, you know, but you know, it's very profit driven background as such.
But they have to learn to support workers if they're going to, you know, if they're going to have a healthy workforce.
Well, that particular guy, there was a fellow there that did work there, and he was brilliant at his job. So he was, and he let him go as well, because your man wanted to work from home because his father wasn't well, and he. The word is that he refused him that.
I couldn't accommodate that.
No.
It couldn't be. It couldn't have a generosity of spirit that would accommodate it.
We're sort of going through the same things ourselves, you know, trying to fight for more money, because we're on the lowest paid company around.
Really?
Like we're on 12.36 an hour across the board, and 22 PMI, and that's for a long time. And the company, other company in Strabane, they're 12.50 or 12.60 an hour, 13.15 at night, and 14.15 at the weekend, and 30 pence a mile. So with the union on at the minute, and we're gathering up people, you know, and we have a WhatsApp page going, you know, trying to fight for more money. And
that's a disgrace, Margaret, because this is skilled work, and it's very, very highly responsible. It carries a huge responsibility.
It does.
I wouldn't have thought that now, honestly.
It's just pretty badly paid, badly. And it's because, you know, I was fighting with myself, and I was in turmoil for a long time. I was going to move to another company, and I've got to the age now, Marina, that I've got a good, nice enough wee run, and I'm not too far away from the house, and that's the only thing keeping me
that way.
And I talked to a girl which is very level-headed, and I says to her, you know, I'm fighting myself. I'm sitting outside Strabane District here, and I don't know whether I'll go in or not. And I said, but I have this feeling. She says, that feeling that your experience is your gut. And she says, your gut's telling you just to leave it. And she says, just listen to your gut. So I did. But it's awful. It's just, you know, it's like the union has went to Bryson asking for a meeting. We have to sort out, like, it's a very good friend of mine, so used to live next door to me in Spring Hill, and she was part of the union. Now she's retired from it, and she says to me, Monica, it takes an awful long time for this to be sorted. You know, so just bear with it, and it will get sorted. She says eventually.
Well, if it's in process, it's, you know, it's bound to get sometime.
But they're
right
going
time
to
you have to. Then it's good to look at how it suits you as well, Monica. You know.
Moving on, just back to the Marie and Dermot chat. So,
To the business.
yeah, so this here was, you got this photo, Dad. Who did you get this from?
Me.
Monica.
So that would be 1964, would it?
No, it wouldn't, because that's Barry there.
Well, I know, but is that not you that Granny Anderson is holding?
Me.
Is that not you there? Yeah.
Me.
Be 68.
I think it
Oh,
is.
you were 68. Sorry, 68. Yeah.
No,
And that's Fergal.
I'd be 69 maybe then.
And Rose. And who's it?
That's Eugene. Yeah.
Oh, Eugene.
And
look at Granny, isn't Rose? Well, look Granny there. Eh?
Well, I have a picture of Aoife Lycan, you know, my granddaughter. Aoife's an image of Rose in those pictures at that stage.
That's amazing.
This would have been in the living room, is it, or the kitchen? It looks like a kitchen, maybe.
I don't know.
It looks like
that's Granny's kitchen. See the cooker behind you.
Because that was taken out, you remember?
That's the kitchen.
Like, look at Mommy there. She was stunning, wasn't she?
She's a lovely looking woman. Anyway, beautiful girl.
And what sort of, so if you wouldn't have many memories then of Marie?
I just have more memories of her coming to my house, you know.
Was it spoken much to her? Or
oh, surely, of course.
What sort of a?
She was very warm and friendly.
Yeah.
And really good fun.
Yeah.
Everybody would say that.
No, the Waynes loved to see her coming. It was a good time for them, you know. And like as I say, Andy still would speak about when they used to meet in our house. He would remember, even one day he was talking, I remember what she wore, you know.
Imagine.
And then she would have come down to visit them when Dermot went away a few times. And he remembered us walking her down to the bus stop. And me having Deirdre in the pram going down. You know, he has those memories of her. No, they would. My mother was very fond of her as well. You know, she was very likable girl.
And was their wedding big then? Was it a big wedding or a small wedding?
It was a big.
It had been big in terms of those times, you know, Brad.
So they get married in Castlederg, and
they
then
did.
And then where was the reception?
It was on Rafo, wasn't it?
I think Freeze, was it?
Right. And what was your impression then of the Corrie side of things?
Well, I didn't really get to know anybody, Brad. You know, if I did meet your grandmother, it would have been just that day, you know.
Right.
So that I, you know, just because of where I was situated and my situation at the time, you know, you wouldn't been able to get about like you can now.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
And then how long did their marriage last then?
I actually don't know.
Well,
so Monica
I was a baby,
too,
right? I would say about 2 years.
It wasn't long, because I remember getting a letter from my mother to say that they were going to England because that Dermot and Marie were splitting up and they were going over to see. They weren't going to accept that, and they went. But I didn't know anything about it other than that. Then I didn't know what happened when they were there. But it was whenever they break up actually happened, and Marie was coming home. That was the next I heard, and I remember all that very clearly.
So, what do you remember about that then?
I just remember my mother saying that they had finally broken up, and that Marie was coming home to Castlederg.
And this was the divorce. They were getting a divorce.
I don't know if they had actually split and got divorced after Barry. I don't actually know. It would have taken some time to get a divorce.
Right.
They would have.
I would imagine.
And what was the general attitude then of, we'll say, yourself and your brothers and sisters and your mum and dad about the breakup?
We would have been sorry. I mean, everybody you know, everybody liked Dermot because he was so, you know, is that kind of, he was everybody's, you know, he came with this big smile to everybody's house and all that. And everybody liked her, you know. They, I mean,
I think when my mother come home from what I think I kind of gathered was when she come home to Castleair, we stayed in Nana's house, right? We went to live in Nana's house, both me and Barry. And I remember bits and pieces, you know, I remember having an apple tree in the backyard and stuff like that there. But I think there was probably absolutely no communication then after that between my mother and father. So because we knew very little, very little from my mother's side. Just that, you know, she would have blamed him for everything, you know. But since that, me looking into this picture, what I think is they were just too young and they didn't know one another and they hadn't enough time to get to know one another. And my father didn't want to be staying here in Ireland because he moved to England to get away from everything here.
Work here.
No.
Days, you know.
And I went away at a young age too. And like, I think that just they should, to me, they should never be married, you know, because, you know, she would only knew him when he come back, you know, they only got together when he was coming back on holidays and like, and then they'd be going away again and things like that. And I don't know how to come to the, you know, how they eventually said, yes, we'll get married. I know my mother had said to me way back that she got married to save face because Jacqueline had got married before her.
Okay.
And she needed to, you know, back then it was a whole different ball game too. And she was the eldest, my mother, and she wasn't married. So I think maybe that had something to do with it too. You don't know how they thought back then, like, because it's a whole different now, Brad, you know.
If you weren't married by your 21, you were considered to be an old maid.
And I know, and I think
that might reaffirm what you had said earlier as regards putting pressure on her to a certain degree.
And that was just something that had been mentioned at the time because I know what my mother thought they were too young, and and I don't remember who said that, but I remember hearing somebody say that your grandmother was pushing for this wedding.
It's probably because Jacqueline was married.
I think there's another part of it now that I just remember this minute is Marie went over to Scotland. He was in Scotland at the time when they were together. She went over to Scotland for a weekend or a few days or something, and it was after that there was this push for them to be married. So that would have been a kind of a scandal in those days, you know, to be going staying with somebody and. You know,
that's
it would have been like now.
Because even in my day growing up, my mother wouldn't hear tell her I was staying in our house.
That's right.
You know, never. That wouldn't have been happening.
Yeah.
I couldn't have brought a fella to the house. And when me and Deggy was like had children, we weren't allowed to sleep in the one bed in our house. You know, so that's.
So when they got engaged, then was there a party or?
I wouldn't think so, and I can't remember anything, Brad. I wouldn't. There wouldn't have been celebrations for like that in those days.
No.
Right.
Yeah. No.
They had a big wedding, and I think they had a 3-tier cake, as far as I can mind about the album.
What do you remember about the wedding day then?
I just remember the people who were there, and to some extent what people were wearing. What I was wearing myself, but I was not in a good place at that time, Brad.
Right.
You know, my husband was drinking very heavily, and he was drinking at that wedding. I remember him being drunk, and I would live in fear of that then always because I knew I always knew there was something going to happen, or I was going to get a slap or something, you know.
Okay.
So you loved this constant anxiety.
Right, okay.
So that's where I would have
You
been.
never got to enjoy the
And
day
myself,
on
not
edge.
at all, not
Right.
at all.
And then we'll say, so after the breakup then, so, I mean, and then there will say the period of these two growing up. There was no contact from Dermot, was there?
There was tried to be contact. He would have tried, I think, a few times.
So do you know any more about that?
I know that I tried at one stage. I remember he came. I was working in Strabane Golf Club at the time, and I remember him sitting in the kitchen there with me, where I had found out he never could get to find out what your address was. And I had found out from Ballywilson, and I had been doing functions up there. I had found it out from him where he were, and I had given Dermot that address. But that's all I remember, Brad. He would have made, so obviously he was home, he was making some effort, but he would always, and any time that I was in his company, he would have always spoke about you and wondered how you were doing. Always.
Well, I know.
But by that time, Viv was on the scene and all that sort of thing, and of course she controlled the whole show, and there was that part of it as well. So I knew that that day that he was down in Strabane Golf Club with me, he was on his own, and he had sort of given her the slip. And he was there specifically for this conversation about the address.
What age would he have been then, and when would that have been?
Well, we were young.
No, I'm talking about this golf club.
I remember something about that golf club. Well,
I would have left Strabane Golf Club about 82, I think. Yeah, 81 or 82, I left there.
Right.
So he would have been back and forth to England then with work when they were growing up as kids.
I came home on a holiday in May.
Right.
He would always come in May for a holiday. That was his time.
And did he ever try and send letters or?
I don't know about that piece.
Right.
And I hate to say, well, yes, because I don't really know. I would have heard from my mother about them trying to make contact.
And just trying with no address, or trying in Marie knocking it back, or?
I honestly don't know, Brad.
Okay.
I wish I did know. I wish, and I appreciate the fact that you would be wanting to know.
Oh, I'm just trying to ask questions.
No, but I do appreciate that fact, because it's always sad when people don't take an interest, and don't want to know.
Well, I know my aunties would have a different sort of look on it, and they would stick up more for my mother on it, but I always try and be fair and listen to both sides, but I remember one time I was only young, quite young, but there's certain things stick out in your mind, and this is one of the things. And I remember my mother, it was a whole thing, and about meeting my dad in the golf club one time. And I know my mother got the phone call from, I don't know who was on the other end of the phone.
Right.
But this phone call come to across the road, our neighbour's house, because we didn't have a phone back then. And she came over, and I overheard slightly he wants to meet in the golf club. And I think she had phoned Nana or some of their sisters or something, and said this, and then she made the decision then that she wasn't going to go ahead with it. She wasn't going to let us go down and meet.
I see.
What age would you have been then?
I was so young.
Would you have been staying at Granny Corey's house at this stage, or
No,
would have been
in Drum the Bay.
Drum the Bay? So Granny had married Patsy at this stage.
I don't know if they were married.
But they were together.
They were together.
Right.
We're together.
Well, that was another part of it. I suppose she was in another relationship, and it might have been awkward for her to be meeting up with Dermot. That might have caused some stress in itself.
Well, I know something now. When I was getting married to Decky, she didn't want my father being there. But Patsy said, if you want him there, bring him there, surely. You know, and I knew by my father's face that day because he wanted to give me away. But to me, I'd say, you know, provided for me.
Of course.
So I thought that he had the right to do it then.
And I might have been in total agreement with that. You know, of course, Dermot would have wanted. He was very sentimental.
It was,
you know, but you have to look at the practicalities as well, and look at the reality of your life, and you have to give people their place.
Yeah, but he did come to the wedding. You know, my wedding.
Yeah.
And he would have sort of, we'll say, during that period, we'll say, of going on holiday and back to England, there would have been remorse about the lack of contact between the children.
Very much so, Brad. And I often cried.
Right.
I can't tell you that. He often cried with me.
Well, he told me that a priest come to his house one time, because my mother was looking for an annulment.
Okay.
At the time, and he told me that he wasn't going to sign nothing until he seen his kids.
I see.
So this is what he told me. But he said there was faults on both sides.
Of course.
But Mommy says it was all him. You know, so.
Well, maybe it was all him, sure, who knows? At that age, you know, people have much sense, have they?
No sense.
And especially in those days.
I didn't even have sense when I, like, back then. I still, times I don't. Like, you learn every day, something new.
It's just, I don't know, it's the story of our lives, and there's some very sad episodes in it.
Yeah.
So what was he doing in his life then? So he was just back and forth to England working.
Yeah.
And just he'd come back to Donegal. And then, so when did he meet this Viv? What age was he?
She seemed to come into the picture very early.
So after.
My mother thinks that actually she was maybe the cause.
Possibly. Now, she was on the picture very early, and I do know that. And again, because I wasn't there that much, but, you know, my mother would have to give you the latest news, obviously, by letter or whatever, you know. And I remember that piece about them talking about this Vivian. And I was working in Wellworth at that time. And I remember he brought Vivian back, but nobody spoke to her.
I hate that.
And I brought her on to Wellworth to meet me. You know, I did speak to her, certainly. I wouldn't break Dermot, you know, I wouldn't do that. But she didn't get a welcome. And sure, Rose never accepted her till the day she died.
No, that's right.
No, it was more that Rose wouldn't accept her, or that whatever it was, because they knew that she had him under control and that he had very little flexibility in what he did for anybody.
I sort of got that because at the time around the funeral, a lot was done at that time. And I sort of got the gist of her. But when I my first ever experience of her over in England, she ended up falling out with me because my dad bought me a leather jacket on their anniversary. And she wouldn't speak to me then after that. Wouldn't get up out of her bed, Marina, to take us back to the airport. My dad, before he went to work, had to take us to the airport. We were in the airport for hours before our plane.
And she wouldn't do that. Yeah. No.
But you know, I used to live next door to my mother in Drumna Bay. And Decky Gallagher would tell you the same thing. He sat in our house and he said that he wanted to be buried in the cross. You know, and I said, I just swept it under the carpet, and I wish I didn't. You know. So she didn't carry out his wishes.
She wouldn't. She would have always done what suited her anyway. You know. I think, but I know my mother was very hurt about that piece as well, because he seemed to know that he wanted to be buried at the cross. Yeah.
Like he told me out of his own mouth that he did.
Mm. Mm.
And he had a son with her, did he?
No.
No, they had no children, Brad. No,
Right.
she had a son before she met him.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Right.
But they didn't have any children together.
Right.
Mm.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So I mind when I was like young and along with my friends in Drumnabay Park, and I used to say to them, God, I says, you never know, I might have more brothers and sisters around the place. Over in England.
Well, we all might have
It's right.
but I no, as you say, they were very young. And that was how the times were then. But I wouldn't see Dermot as being a saint, do you know? What young fella that is as a saint, you know, and for them, they went away there. I think he was like about 16 years of age. He didn't even have the money to go. Alec Ewan gave him the money to go. My father, even though he was working for my father at the time, he wouldn't even give him the fare to go. And I remember the day that Dermot went, and he was very, very young. He went on a boat from Derry across to Scotland, and I went with Alec Ewan. He had got work for him and all that. And that's the life. Those young fellas leaving school at 13 or 14 years of age, no education, away there to work in the roads in Scotland, and the way they'd be treated and everything else.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of Irish and anti-Irish sort of stuff at that time.
Yeah. And then he moved down after he met your mother. He moved down into the south of England to Plymouth.
I was born in Newton Abbot.
Aye.
What about when these two were born? Do you have any memory of them coming to the cross?
Not really. No, not really.
Christmas, no.
No.
I remember going to the cross. Do you remember anything about the cross, Barry?
There's two things that sort of jump out at me. One was a seesaw with Fergal. There's a barrel and a plank of wood down at Granny's house. And the terraced garden, I thought was, oh, look, this big path. Look how long this path. And the hill up to, isn't it, PJ's house? Yeah. Looking at it now, it's nothing. But then I thought, look at the size of this.
That's the memories that my children have as well.
Yeah.
But they have everything that's land around them. And, yeah.
So yeah, those were the sort of two memories that would sort of stick out that I would remember forevermore of them.
Yeah, interesting.
I want to sort of switch away from the conversations of Marie and Dermot, unless any of you have any questions there, or
no.
Just note it down if you.
Very important to be organised, Brad, and have a wee system in mind.
100%.
Yes.
So I do more stuff on my phone, but I mean, what are your earliest memories then of your own parents?
I can remember back to I was 2.
What year was that then?
That would have been 1938. We didn't live we didn't live in Armagana. We lived, on the road from Garden District of Murder, about halfway up that road.
And what do you call that town, that area?
Cavan.
Alright. So where's Lisna Mulligan come onto it all?
That's with my grandparents' farm. That's near Castlefan.
Right. Because Granny always talked about Lisna Mulligan.
Yeah. She worked a lot there. They were very good at cheap labour, My mother was young and I suppose she had her muckran. She would have been always down there for,
She would have told me she had a happy childhood.
She grew up as an only child, really, because she was only 2 when her sister died. And she always talked about a happy childhood. My grandparents, even when they lived with us.
This is the McGroartys.
They were very gentle, quiet people. My grandmother was lovely. And Granda was just, he was quiet and
Do you
good.
look like?
You're not unlike yourself.
Right.
And it's funny because I always see Adam in him as well. He's the only one in my family, and my mother always seen Adam in him. The only difference that I can see with you is your brown eyes.
What colour eyes did he have?
Blue.
Blue eyes, right.
We're nearly all blue, even not all you said blue.
And my mother had very, very blue eyes. Yeah.
She would have been sort of sallow skinned, dark hair.
She was tan skinned, really.
Right.
And black, jet black hair.
Right.
My granny.
Right.
This would be Mary Ann.
No, Bridget.
Oh, Granny Anderson.
Oh,
all right, okay.
But the Granda McGroarty, as he was dark and sallow skinned, and he was small. Men were smaller in those times anyway. But he was very strong in himself. I always remember him having strong hands. And he would make things out of wood. And I remember he once made me a dancing doll. And he would have sat there, when he wasn't working. He worked as a ploughman all his life. But he bought me my first bike. They're my memories. I have more fonder memories of my grandfather McGroarty and my grandmother because of the way they were. They were very gentle and kind to everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas my other grandparents, it was all about work, and don't lift your head, And
that would have been the Andersons, and that would have been
Andersons.
Patrick and Bridget, right.
Aye.
And what would they have looked like then?
But she was quite dark and dark eyes.
Right.
And very thin woman. And Dermot looked like him, if you can remember. Dermot looked very like him.
Good looking then.
Yeah. And I only have pictures of him as an old man, but yeah. He was a very crabbit man. I think life was hard for them, He had been a cattle dealer, and my grandmother would have run the farm when he was away. He would go to Scotland and here and there buying and selling cattle, was what they did in those days. And my grandmother would have run that farm on her own, and with her children. But at the same time, she was very, very religious. Extremely so. And I think she nearly when I look back at it now with a psychology mindset, I think she was always trying to prove to him that she was worth something or good enough, and that she wasn't the sinner that he put her down to be. Do you know? She had committed this awful sin of pregnancy outside of marriage, and and so you had to make up for that for the rest of your life.
Oh, Annie. Oh, this was Annie's mother.
Annie.
Yeah, the Andersons up.
Yes. My grandparents Anderson. Yeah.
And then would you have any memories at all of your great grandparents? Would they have been alive when you were born?
No, they wouldn't have been alive when I was born.
And Willie wasn't in the IRA at all, Willie McGroarty?
Not at all.
No, he was in America. No,
William McGroarty is my grandfather.
Yeah.
He was the one family member who didn't go to America.
Sorry, yeah.
Aye. He was left because he was the oldest of John McGroarty's.
That's right.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
There is a Willie McGroarty though in the Castlefin area who was in the IRA during the War of Independence.
But I don't think that they are related to us in any way,
I think they're cousins.
My grandfather always said he had no relations in Ireland. He would have, he'd have always said that. So I never knew there to be any connection. That's why I'm kind of.
No, there definitely is. He had cousins who he had first cousins who were in Castlefin area.
That's the common sense, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Do I have it here on the
Yes, I suppose back then there wasn't a big population as such, and
No, but also there wouldn't have been any small families much, you know,
true.
So you would nearly.
It's
It's very interesting for me to hear that because another cousin of my mother's, Kathleen McGorty, did a lot of research on this, and she'd never came up against any relations of ours.
Right, okay.
But her research would have been like, say, 15 and 20 years ago, which she wouldn't have had access to.
No,
So
the World Wide Web.
here's this fella here is the fella I'm talking to, right? So this is.
See where these other clips.
I'll take your time. We won't look at anything without.
Is this the mirror?
No, sorry.
Beside the prayer. Oh, there's another prayer there, Mary.
Cheapers. That's them.
You're all right, don't be worrying.
So I can trace this tree all the way back to Andrew Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, when you talk about Andrew Anderson,
married to Bridget.
Granny and Granda Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's father of Mary McGrorty and Bridget McGrorty, who's later Anderson. So this is Willie McGrorty here. So he had a big family. So that was Mary. So he was the son of John and Sarah Doherty. So he had Mary Bella, Martha, Charles, Sarah, John, Elizabeth, Jane, James, and Daniel.
That must have been my grandfather's siblings.
Siblings, yeah. So that's all their siblings.
Granda was.
And these were, Marina said these were in America. And he stayed there.
They all went to America.
Yeah. So they were all there. But so then if we go back one, so this is John, his father.
Aye.
So he's born in 1867. And then there's John McGrorty here, born in 1830.
Right.
So John here had, I think it was John he had James McGrorty. And then James McGrorty had these fellas. So I think James had John. Anyway, that'll come.
Very interesting.
That comes down into Castlefin.
Yeah.
And these fellas.
These been all from that area. You know?
Yeah. So these McGrortys would have been all sort of in the IRA during the War of Independence. Willie, Dominic, and James are.
That is very interesting mainly because of my grandfather, William McGrorty. Grandfather was never interested in anything like that. Honestly, he was a family man and he was totally invested in my mother. She was his only child then. He had died, and he would have been totally invested in us. And because I was the eldest, he just thought, and then there was all boys after me in a row. So he, and even when my children were born, he loved them. He would always been wanting to nurse them if they were. He stayed with my mother, before he died, and all that. He was just such a gentle soul.
He died first, and then it was your granny. Then
no, my granny died. I was 18 when she died. They have her on that gravestone at the cross. They have her as dying in 56, but she actually died in 55.
Right.
Right. Yeah, there it is there.
Aye. Well, that should be 1955 there.
1992.
And then was there Andersons who had steam engines?
That was my grandfather. Had.
Yeah, because
he had the first steam engine ever in the north of Ireland.
Right.
And he went round. Him and Johnny worked with him, the son. He went round and they thrashed all the corn and the whole. And it was over some kind of an IRA fight or something that Johnny had, that the steam engine was burnt. That put them out of business. It was burnt somewhere near Stranraer, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So this here, I'll bring you out of this. So this is, I don't know who, I think it's Paul Anderson maintains this. So this is Patrick Anderson, born 21st of May 1875, died the 7th of October 1934, son of John and Unity McCann.
Yeah, yeah, I knew that.
So Unity would have been your great grandmother.
Yeah, yeah.
Her name, yeah, so with Unity McCann, yeah. So this here goes back as well. So there was Patrick, and then before Patrick, there was John. And then before John, there was Andrew, who was around, that was around 1756. And he married a Rose O'Doherty,
Right.
according to this.
The names coming
That
down
must
on
be
the
where
lines.
that must be where the Catholic marriage came in. They were Protestant before that.
Were they? So he
Can you get anything in him?
don't know if there, you see, you can get so there's comments here from Paul Anderson. So he's looking at Donegal genealogy here. We told by family member that Andrew Anderson moved from Cessa O'Neill outside Ballybuffet to the O'Doherty family home in Listamulligan. These are Cessy / Dreenan Andersons in Griffith's valuation. So he got this from a Roisin Gallagher and E. Anderson.
Right.
And then there's
that's my cousin.
Yeah, and then here's the steam engine. Where is it now? Is this here as a? There's also DNA as well. Just go back here. So that's the Anderson tree all the way back. So that's John there. But that Andrew Anderson, if he was local, so all the Irish records were destroyed either by the British or in the war. Civil War.
They were burnt.
They were burnt
Dublin
Castle. Yeah, at the Four Courts even. But if you go to the Church of Ireland, they have the records, and you'll be able to go back and back and back. But there's an article here. Yeah, so it's here about the steam engine.
Wow.
Let me just.
Right.
Let me just open it up here.
This is like gold dust to me, honestly, because I've tried to do so, and I never got on. I don't know how to do it really.
So on my mother's, I don't know what this is from. So on my mother's Bernie side, the Andersons of Ballybun, and originally from Listamulligan, also have a rich farming background. My great grandfather Andrew Anderson and his son John were the first men in the Finn Valley to own a steam engine bought in the 1850s. The Andersons were considered the local contractors at the time who would go around to local farms and thresh the corn for them. The first engine was named Northern Queen and was bought in Belfast. Journey from Belfast to Castlefin took over a week on the narrow roads of the time. With one man walking in front, warning other travellers with horses in case they bolted, and another man driving the engine. 2 years later, it returned to Belfast, where it entered in the Balmoral show. It won overall award there and was driven back to Castlefin in triumph, where there were many celebrations to mark the event. It also entered a fair in Derry in the 1910s. My grandfather's older brother Jack was a keen passenger of no more than 7 or 8 years old at the time, and in the years later recalled the journey from Castlefin, which took 2 days, and then you can sort of see the steam engine there.
Oh my God!
I'd have to send that to Marina now.
That is amazing.
But yeah, I think that's Paul Anderson who got that,
Well, Paul, as we call him the Drumbo Andersons, he's a son of Peter, who would have been Peter, my first cousin, and Paul, and I have a lot of contact with Paul, but he didn't tell me about any of this. He just told me he got back as far as Unity McCann, and he couldn't get any further than that.
And then that's her will there. So it's her will leaving the farm to Patrick.
God almighty.
So it was worth £239 in 1896.
Goodness.
And I think there's the source document might be there as well. Where is it? No, maybe it isn't. I was able to find the document anyways, but this is I don't know, is there anything else?
You've done amazing work.
Well, this isn't. So this would be. There's no information on them. Like, do you have any information on the McCanns?
No,
nothing.
Nobody seemed to be able to get beyond that.
Right.
And
And then I don't know.
It's Winifred McCann.
Yeah, so Unity would have been Winifred.
Aye, and that's where my father's sister, Winnie, that's where that name came from.
Right.
Aye,
I heard that. I heard that
Aye.
before, Winnie.
aye, yeah.
And then
Unity's a strange name, so
Mm.
Isn't it?
Mm.
And it's really not it's not a Catholic name, is it really?
No.
even back in
Mm.
those days, you know.
It'd be more American, wouldn't it? Unity?
You could be right, Monica, yeah.
there's Paul's tree here. So that's Patrick there. So
Mm.
this here, I sent this picture to you, Monica. So this is Patrick Anderson. So that's Patrick and Peter. Peter and Patrick.
Yeah.
So-
The picture there was always in Granny's.
So who are these two men then?
Well, that's my father's two brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Aye. Yeah.
And Peter would have been the fella. So Peter is on the right, is he? Or,
Aye.
so he's on the right.
Peter went to America very young, but Patrick always stayed here, and they lived in Drumbo, where he brought up his family. And that fella Paul, that would be his grandson.
Right.
Mm.
So Peter would have been the fella who would have been telling you all the stories
Yes.
then.
Yeah. When he retired, he did very well in America, and he actually owned a string of pubs at one stage. When he retired, he would have always come every summer for 6 weeks.
Right.
Stayed in Ardnagana, you know.
Okay.
Mm.
Right. That's interesting.
Aye. So by that time, then I would have been more independent and had a car and everything. So Granny would have been always hoping that I would come and take him out of the road for a while. That's why I would spend the time with him a lot.
Is there any other?
Do you know something? I know a girl in Castleberg, and she would have been married to my Aunt Jacqueline's son.
Mm.
That marriage broke up,
Mm.
and now she's married to Peter Anderson from Drumbo. So they would be kind of related too.
Mm.
So she went from the Corey side to the Anderson side. So he's Peter Anderson.
So I wonder what, because Paul doesn't, Paul only has one son.
I think his father was Peter as well. This guy is called Peter Anderson, and his father was called Peter.
I'm not sure how that fits with Monica.
And who is this here then? Is this Peter in the photo? Is it?
What is it?
She's turning around.
That's Roisin there, anyway, my cousin. And I don't know if that is Peter.
Patrick, maybe even.
That's Peter's two daughters there. You know, they were born in America, obviously, but that doesn't look like Uncle Pete to me, you know.
And who's this girl here in the end?
I really don't know, Monica.
And then
Maybe that's Roisin's daughter.
what's the background?
And that's Liston Mulligan.
That's the home house, is it?
Yeah.
So obviously it had been moved out at that stage because
Oh, of course. No, it was
a tree going through it.
derelict for a long
Yeah.
time. Yeah. That was they had these big fancy barns, but then they had this wee thatched house. You know, they were kind of more care given to the animals, you know.
Another question for you, Marina. The time I got married, Dad, he
Took you to Florida.
yeah, took me to Florida and such.
Right.
And we stayed with Andersons over there.
Uh-huh.
Do you know anything about them? This is in Florida.
I don't know Barry who was in Florida, but it had to be, you know, some of my father's brother's sons, I suppose.
Right.
Because you had Johnny and Peter, so they both had, well, Peter had just two daughters, but I think Johnny had a big family, so it had to be one of his sons, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I just can't remember the man's name at all now. I know he had a son that was heavily into basketball as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know any details of them.
Mm.
Might be another angle, Brad.
Yeah, I only knew more about Pete because he came every year, you know, and then Aunt Mary, they came back here. They bought a farm out at Convoy whenever her husband retired, but they only stayed a couple of years, you know, and went back to America.
Right.
She was married to a man called Pete McElroy.
Right.
Patrick Anderson was father of Andrew. So this is your grandfather. So then there's these photos flagging up. Do you know anything about this? Gentry bushes, or what this means?
I don't know.
Not sure, did he write this, or I'll have to contact maybe.
Very, very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a few other pictures as well. There's the census, and he was killed. Mr. Pat, so he was killed in an accident.
Oh, no, my grandfather wasn't killed in an accident.
So this is maybe a different Patrick.
Aye.
Or no, actually, sorry.
He died.
I think this was his cousin, the Castlefin fatality.
Maybe so.
So it was a fatality of maybe his cousin Patrick then.
Yeah.
And then there's the big flood. Have you heard of that? The big flood in 1960s.
No.
It was where is this now? Is it in John's name? Photos.
The photos are always very interesting, aren't they? They're
10,000 words, as they would say.
That's right. Very, yeah.
Patrick married Margaret Kerrigan, and that's just his line back. So
that's right. And they loved, and Listener Mulligan too, the Kerrigans. Just loved down from my grandparents' house, you know.
So then there's Patrick Anderson and Bridget Quinn, and then it's Peter Quinn and Rose O'Donnell.
Aye, well that's who Uncle Pete married when he went to America, as far as I know.
No, Rose O'Donnell was 1840.
Oh, that was back.
So Patrick is so this is Paul and Patrick. Paul would be Patrick's grandfather, and his father was Peter. So then our great grandfather would have been John. Would also be Patrick?
Your my great grandfather was John.
And his brother was Peter.
No, that's my father's family. That's my father was Andrew, Peter, that crowd. My grandfather was Patrick, and his father was John.
And his father was Andrew, right? Okay.
There.
Yeah. So Patrick, John, Andrew, right, and Rose with Hardy. So that's where the Catholic ends then, potentially.
Aye.
Comments.
No, Protestants would end.
Or the Protestants end, yeah.
So what does that say then?
It says John Anderson, born 1811 from Dreenan, was my second great grandfather. He was a gamekeeper and mannered Hannah McBrearty. His sons John and Thomas left for Anderston, Lanark, Scotland, and were Boilermakers. John later, that's a different person, I would imagine, in America. That's the thing we looked at, that Cessa O'Neill. Is that what you say? Cessa O'Neill?
Cessa O'Neill.
Cessa O'Neill.
I heard that name before.
Yeah. Cunningham, Marcus Anderson, James Raffo. Oh yeah, there's a bill here. This is the civil bill ejectments for the year 1827 to 1837, and I think Anderson is here. Thought it was there. Maybe it is.
Yeah, it is.
Marcus Cunningham, Marcus Anderson, the Marquis Anderson. Yeah, I don't. Greece. maybe, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's something else. But the, what you call it's here, the bill, the will document is here as well. Unity McCann.
I'm very interested in that because I was kind of fascinated by her name always, and
I found this somewhere, so I did the.
Oh no, Verity.
No, it's our
Unity.
Unity.
There was a link here for it. I can't remember where the link is. Maybe it's the death record. Yeah, Unity Anderson. This is her death. So she was 60 when she died. And she was
So where does it say where she's buried?
date and place of death. So she died in Liston Mulligan. And this was in 1896. So Bernard Anderson would have signed that his son. This is parameters of 60. And then James, signature of registrar. This is a different fella. She died on the death was registered on the 24th of February 1896.
And what did she die of?
She died on the 17th of February, but does it say the cause of death? I don't think so.
So she's a widow.
Yeah.
She was a widow at the time, yeah.
And left the land to
Patrick. Patrick was given the land.
Patrick was Granda's father.
And then this is his birth registration.
Doesn't say where she was buried, did it, Brad?
No.
Can you find that out?
So there's these are all listed them all again. Is it Patrick? What his name be now?
There's Patrick down there.
Anderson. Here's the Anderson here. Patrick Anderson, John Anderson, Unity. This is Patrick's birth certificate, is it? Listen them all again. 4th of June, 1875.
Did you get far back with her, Kristen? Her
Unity?
Yes.
No, I haven't. If she the way to trace her back is to go. It's just to go to the church and ask for the baptism records, or the baptism records, because they're the father.
And the death, and then you get the death through them.
Yeah, but to go back her family, so to go her parents, you need to go to her baptism. But the church should have those records, so they should. Castlefin, I'd imagine.
Would it be the Protestant church though?
Oh, the Church of Ireland records go all the way back to the 1600s. So
we don't have Catholic records.
No, they do. Yeah, the Catholic records. That's how they. So when all the census records were destroyed, that's how you piece it back. You go to the Catholic registers. Okay. Because deaths, baptisms, communion all have to be registered. So that's how you sort of fill in the gaps. But the church would have all those records. So they would, but yeah. So that's how far back it goes there.
So you're saying the photos of what?
Well, it's no, sorry. There's no photo. It's just this. It's just this one here. Just her will.
Oh, that's right.
Widow who died the 21st of February. Granted at Londonderry, even though it was the 19th or 17th in the form, anyways. But so that Patrick Anderson would be your great grandfather.
My grandfather.
Your grandfather. Your grandfather.
She would be the great granny.
And was there any chat about Unity McCann or any?
No, the first that I ever heard of her was when Paul Anderson from Drumbo, and when Paul was doing research, and he had contacted me, and he said that was as far as he got,
Right. And there was no ever chat of Unity or?
No, I never heard. But you know what? They were so rigidly Catholic, and if she happened to have a Protestant background, she wouldn't have been named anyway.
Right.
You know, I think, and then that's just
Right.
my idea. But no, there was never any. But they didn't talk about. Do you know what, Brad? They worked so hard, and so it was all about work and prayer and listening to Mulligan. You know, and I think they had maybe just such tough times in their youth and things like that they didn't have outside interests in the way that we would, you know. The whole focus was on animals and their welfare and the land and the crops, and that's all you heard. And my grandmother, you know, they would have sheared the sheep. She spun all the yarn herself.
Yeah.
One of my memories is sitting when she had this spinning wheel outside on a sunny day, sitting on a chair beside her, you know, in a hard wooden chair until I fell asleep, you know, and listening to the whirl of the spinning wheel.
Imagine.
Yeah, it was a lovely memory, you know.
Oh, of course.
It was lovely. And so when she would get a minute, she would be either doing that or nothing. She never sat at the kitchen table with the dinner. Everybody working on the farm would have been in for their dinner. She sat on the bottom step of the stairs. They had stairs leading up from the kitchen. That's where she ate after everybody was served. So there was something always in that for me, the sadness of it, you know, that she was not at the same level as them.
Yeah, sort of a serf sort of mindset.
Aye.
My mother had that mindset too, you know.
Is that right?
A lot, didn't she, Barry? That the boys would always, like, we would always clean for the boys and stuff like that there, clean their rooms and stuff. Do you agree? He doesn't agree. I don't know.
Yeah. But my grandmother would have been very good to us, you know. She was
Right.
very, very kind and very good.
This is your McGorty grandmother.
No, but my Anderson grandmother
your Anderson
as well.
grandmother.
She would have been good to us. Like when we would be down there and when we'd be leaving, we'd have to walk home. She would leave us down round the corner and she'd have threepence, a threepenny bit wrapped up, you know, and she would give a piece of newspaper for each of us, you know, PJ and myself usually.
And did your grandparents have any mannerisms that sort of stuck out to you?
Well, I was my grandfather. He was quite humorous in himself, you know, when he allowed himself to be. But then he would be cross a lot of the time. They just seemed to be worked.
This Grand Anderson, was it?
Yeah. I just remember my grandmother Anderson praying, you know, and she didn't talk very much. You know, she talked and she, you know, if you asked her questions or she would have talked to my aunt and things, but she was very, very quiet. You know, you couldn't have had the same relationship with them as you could with, you know, my grandmother, McGorty, no.
And what sort of mannerisms then would they have had to sort of still stick with you, like?
Well, you know, sociable and wanting to talk. And my grandmother, McGorty, would have recited Yeats's poetry. I mean, this is a woman who left school at 11.
Right.
And her handwriting was beautiful. And so she would have read, you know.
Yeah, we could probably bring up her handwriting actually. So
Marianne, yeah.
Yeah, so Marianne's on this, so
Yeah.
she is. So they probably didn't have I don't know, was it 1911 or 19? So any of these two, no? Marianne McGorty, Liz Minton, Ballantrae.
No, that's not her. No.
McGorty. Was she been McGorty at the time?
She was Marianne Kelly.
But when would this have been now? She been alive in 1911.
She would. She would, because that's the year my great grandmother emigrated. So of course, my grandparents were married at that time.
Was it Mary Jane? No. Mary Jane, Bridget McGroarty. So there's.
No, Marianne, she was.
So that's email.
What about putting in Kelly? Is her name?
Jesus, I don't know. I don't know. It's William. They're definitely there because I've seen the McGroarty signature. Where do you go here now? There's Andrew.
As Anderson said. Did you send me something like handwriting?
I sent you the census records, all right, yeah. But I think I might have sent you the wrong Andersons, but you can double check. Mother of. So there's so Patrick Anderson. That's what we're looking for. John, Patrick. There's Andrew. Going around in circles. Where is?
You're looking for Marianne Kelly, married to William McGroarty?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Andrew Anderson there. He was born. So that's Andrew there. He married. Oh, it's private. Gee. William McGroarty. So there's William there. That's William McGroarty. So he stayed at home.
Mm.
So William must be on the census here. So William. There's two Williams. I can remember distinctly there's two Williams. There's that William that is on our side, and then there's his cousin, McGroarty.
Okay.
Jesus. Has to be McGroarty. I spelled that wrong. Groaarty.
Well, there's some of them spelled it differently.
Yeah. GR.
Some of them spelled GORTY.
Yeah, I've seen that too on the IRA records. Yeah. Donegal. Female. No wonder it's not finding them. William McGroarty. So there's 8 of them. So he was. So there was a few of them. So there's So there's Sallows, Ballymakill, Binrow. Would any of those have been?
Okay. What's this here, Brad? This whole writing accompanied Castle Fun. A company Castle Fun.
That'll be the cousin McGroarty's.
Oh, there's two. There's a signature. W. McGroarty and Joe McGroarty, is it?
Yeah. So that's the IRA fellas, Joe and William, and
So they'd have been the cousins.
they'd have been the cousins, yeah.
Yeah, see. Yeah.
McGroarty.
That's their claim to fame, Monica.
McGroarty. So that's.
But see, joining the IRA. How did you join the IRA?
Marianne, wasn't it?
Aye.
There she is there. Marianne. Maryan.
Mm.
That there is there. That's their handwriting there.
God.
So Willie McGroarty. And there's Marianne. Is that the granny, or that's Marianne's handwriting?
Yeah. That is really amazing.
And yeah, Roman Catholic, reading right. So she was 21 at the time. He was a farm labourer, agricultural labourer. They were 3 years married, and English and Irish.
Can you send that to me, Brad?
I think I have sent it to you.
Did you?
Yeah, Willie.
Dear.
Marina, what did you want? You wanted the Peter's gravestone, didn't you? Have some of the things that you might want here. There's Peter Kelly. Gravestone, did you want
All right, aye. Please, Monica.
And what else did you want?
I'll just send that on to you.
And that would be Patrick Kelly.
That'll be Patrick Kelly, yeah. What else I had sent you, Monica? Yeah, so here's John's thing. Private John Kelly, 7th Battalion Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers, son of Patrick and Bridget Kelly, husband of Isabella Kelly of Dromore, Kitty Gordon, County Donegal. And this here is the story of the McGroarty. So this is John McGroarty. So you're saying he's not related to us then? Because
I don't know.
I'm nearly sure.
Oh, was that the one that I didn't you say, Marina? They put the guns under Granny's?
That was
No,
Anderson's.
Anderson's. So this here, so there's a John McGroarty at the time. So there's two John McGroartys in the McGroarty family.
Right.
So this John McGroarty had a car.
What year was that?
This would have been in the 1920s, the early 1920s.
That would have been then long after my great grandfather went to America. He went in the early 1900s, or for the second time.
And he came back.
He came back. He went in the late 1890s, and then he came back. But he wasn't long back until he went away. But my grandmother was, as far as I know, or my great grandmother was quite a while on her own.
Right.
She went then in 1911.
Yeah.
With whatever family was left here.
And did they come back in the 20s?
No, they never came back.
It must be a cousin then this year.
They're cousins, Brad. No, they never came back. And that was the one thing that my grandfather, he would have been very sad about all his life, that he never saw his family again.
Right.
Oh.
Oh, that's just Patrick Anderson, and that's the date of birth of John Joseph. So that's their son, isn't it? That's your great uncle.
Yeah.
That's John Joseph. So that's Patrick Anderson, Bridget Anderson. So that's his birth cert, basically 1902. So that is with Strabane, is it? District of Castlefin, Strabane, County of Donegal.
It's a little bit hard to see a screenshot of that census of Ireland, but it's a bit hard to see in the photographs because I sent it on to Marina there.
Yeah, you need to sort of zoom up.
That's Monica.
Yeah.
It's a time for Diane.
Oh, it's 10 to 4, so it is.
Well, she's expecting us to call at 4.
That's all right.
So what did Christmas time look like then, when you were a kid?
Well, at our house, being my mother always made big efforts for Christmas. But it was bleak because there's so much alcohol consumption that there's never any money.
Right.
My mother would have knitted for people to earn extra money. I mean, that's her sitting knitting at night after working and minding children all day and working on a farm all day. So, but she always made a big effort for Christmas, got as much as she could. And, up until she died, she would have said that I only ever asked for a box of pins. But she always managed to get them. And where she was able to do that, I would have got a wee box of watercolors every year. So that was a story that she would have always told. PJ always wanted wee cars, So she did her best. She would have been maybe trying to prepare for Christmas for months and so on. And she always cooked really nice food and everything. She was a good cook,
She didn't need to measure anything either.
No.
Just handfuls of stuff.
Did you have turkey and ham at Christmas?
Mainly would have had goose.
Goose?
Turkey wasn't as popular in those days, and everybody who could reared their own geese, to sell. That was her way of getting money for Christmas as well. But we would always have a goose for Christmas.
Right. And do you remember anything about Christmas time as a kid with Grandad, with Dermot?
Well, see, he's a good wee bit younger than me, of course, but yeah, I mean, we all played together and all that sort of thing.
What would he have looked for at Christmas time?
I don't really remember, Brad, honestly. Yeah. I'm just thinking, what age would Dermot be what year was Dermot born?
45, is it?
1945.
So I would have been 10
Right.
when he was born.
He was born in, was it
I'd
Cornstalk?
been 9.
Cornstalks, was it?
My mother was out forking corn onto a cart on a field opposite when she went into labour, and he was born at the gate behind that house. But that house wasn't there that time.
Right, okay.
It was a house up at the back where the farm buildings were. That house was built new in, I think, 1956 about. Dermot was born at, the gate behind Granny's house that led out onto the yard there.
Right,
He was born there, that
right.
gate, yeah, and she actually brought him up to the house on her apron.
That's right, she said that.
Aye.
And did she deliver him alone?
Yeah. And my granny, she lived with us, my mother's mother. So she would have looked after her then. Maybe they would have got the midwife or whatever. But I remembered coming home from school and him been there, as baby.
And what did
Things were really different back then too. Like you were innocent.
Unimaginably different.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
what did like a day look like for you then when you're going to school?
Well,
And when you got up till you put your head on the pillow?
when you got up in the morning, you got your porridge, and you washed your face, and you went to school. Yeah. I liked school, so it was always a good place for me to be. I enjoyed school.
Can you remember anything about the lessons you would have done on a daily or on a particular?
I was always good at English.
Right.
So I loved writing, and stories and all that sort of thing. And also the needlework lessons, because we had to make samples of needlework, and they were all panned onto a scrapbook. Then every female student or girl child had a scrapbook with their needlework. And I remember I got a prize for my knitted sock, which was a wee tiny sock.
Very good.
So we learned to knit, at school also, and from no age.
We learned to sew at school. We were needlework lessons and our cookery lessons.
We would have had samples of every piece of sewing that we did. We square with a buttonhole, or we square with a hem, all the different names of the different. That stood out for me, and I liked Irish as well.
Yeah.
About mathematics.
And I was not that good. I could do. I always could do it. My father was brilliant at maths.
All right.
And he had actually taught maths when he was in the army.
Right.
So he was in.
He was in the British Army.
He was in the British Army, right? So what? So that was because they have the cert. So was he in any of the wars then?
No, he never got outside of England.
Right.
He was being posted to Adria.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. And then he sort of, so he went AWOL.
He went AWOL, yeah.
And he was Andrew Anderson.
Yeah.
I wonder, do they have it here?
Isn't it funny? The names keep coming down the generations. Like you're Barry Alexander, aren't you? And like Dad had Alexander in his name.
Which he wasn't meant to have.
Was he not?
It was meant to be Andrew Dermot, but whatever way, my grandmother was his godmother. Also, she took him to be christened, and whatever way she said it, the priest thought it was Alexander.
And she didn't correct him.
She was a bit deaf, so she mightn't have heard it. So my father was always raging that he had that name.
Right.
So he's Alexander too.
That's why, I suppose that's why, there are so many Andrews then after that.
So this wouldn't have been the 1918s then, would it have been?
No,
Andrew
no, it's Grand Anderson. We're talking about.
and
Oh, deserter.
yeah, because these are all the deserters here. 1917.
No, he wasn't, that wasn't his area. He was only a child then.
All right, so it's sort of the 1920s then.
He only died.
No, it was after I was born.
He died in 1992. Brad.
All right. So
So if you go to the 30s, yes.
what was his date? Do you know his year of birth? By any chance?
I think it was 1915, wasn't it? Or 1915, 1960. I think we should go online to it.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
We can do it out there.
Okay, no
I'll just pause this. I'll just stop this recording here and then.
No, you're okay.
So it's Diane.
She was Diane McGorty. She married. Diane's married then. She called herself McGorty without.
Right. And I was in the music hall.
Yeah, sure, Monica. You just want to keep going or anything?
No,
I'm not sure. Or
Definitely.
tea or coffee or.
Oh, fine. Thanking you, Marina.
Out here now, you have to run chairs.